All right. Good morning and good afternoon, and welcome to episode 19 of this mentorship. So, the video on market structure, I previously said that video is the hardest, is the most difficult video, is the most difficult lesson of any ICT's concept, but I was wrong. This current video, this current episode, it will be the most difficult and the most demanding of every video on trading in general. It doesn't matter which field of knowledge you're using, which style of knowledge you're using to trade the marketplace. So this video will be on models, creating a personal individualized model that it will be yours for keeps. So how do you go about that? How do you go about creating a personal model? So this video will be divided into different segments, and I would advise you to get a journal before you start watching, because everything that will be reviewed in this video, it is what will give you that, probably to give some of you that haha moment if you are in that stage of break even, trying to get to profitability. So this video is more for those people. So if you are still a beginner trader, this video will be useful to you at the later stage of your journey. But for the people that are at that midpoint of being a profitable trader or a break even trader, so this video is currently for you. So I'll advise you pause the video right now and you go get your journal. So I assume you have gotten your journals while you watch this video. So this video will be long, but I'll try and shorten the points because I have my journal here with me, and all the segments of this video have been written out. So I'll try and elaborate on this as precise and as concise as possible to get the point across. So what is a model? Let's start. What is a model? A model is a set of rules. A set of rules that determines your engagement in price action. So those set of rules you established or you got from a mentor or another trader, those sets of rules, they are rigid sets of rules. So that is the models. That model determine how you engage in price action. You can have different models, but you should understand that having different models makes it almost impossible to understand your strike rate, your win rate. If you are trading multiple models, you're still finding yourself. There is almost no way you can have a precise knowledge of your win rate. So you hear traders saying things like they have a 60% win rate, a 70% win rate, or a 90% win rate, and so for them to have that statistics there, they have understood their model when they are allowed to engage in the marketplace. So that is what a model is. A model is a set of rules that determine how you engage in price action. A model is not a pattern, even though the two get interchangeably. And when I say a model is not a pattern, I don't mean a pattern as in the set of rules that goes on. I mean a pattern in like symbol trading. We do not trade patterns like in the sense of symbols. We trade patterns in the sense of algorithmic theories, being if this, then that. If this liquidity is taken, then we're expecting an expansion. Those are sets of rules. Those are rigid set of rules. There is no in between in those field of operation. So the second phase is, why do you want a model? Why do you, as a trader, want a model? Probably a personalized model for yourself. You'd want the model to actually be free, not freedom in a hedonistic sense or in a like a child that has no responsibility, but freedom in the sense that you've been disciplined enough to understand when and where your model is likely formed. What market profile does your model excel most? What field of price action do your model get higher strike rates? Do you understand? So you want a personal model to guide you in this marketplace, because if you are clueless and you do not have something personal that relates with you and this marketplace, it will make you an absurd person, and you will lean into that other you, the you that prioritize self-destruction, that always self-sabotage, especially when something good is going on, especially when you are at a high, at that flow state of mind. So having a model will make will help you to keep this flow state of mind active and not self-sabotage, because your model will direct you. A well-written out model will direct you and keep you safe from self-sabotaging yourself. So that is the main reason you want a model. You think you want to know everything about the algorithm, but you do not, especially at the beginning stage of your development. You can learn, you can just learn the basics of what you need to learn and look for a model. If you cannot look for a model, most times a model must resonate with you. A model must resonate with your individual personality. So, how you think, how you act, how you operate, how you make decisions quickly. Are you very impulsive? Do you make decisions very quick? Do you need more? Do you have trust issues? Do you need more confirmation from price to before you engage? All of this matters a lot. Do you significantly lack patience? Are you impatient? All of those your characteristics, all of those your individual characteristics, what makes you you, what makes you different from the rest of the crowd, that is what will align yourself to a model. Do you understand? The previous episode, which is the episode 18, the previous video was the market maker model, and I was emphasizing on the second stage distribution. If you watch the video to the midpoint or to the end of that video, you will get a something like a gift. I noted on the description of that video that I left a gift there. That is my personalized model. That is the second stage distribution of a market maker sell model. So when you're watching ICT's concept, when you watch ICT, especially when it was on Twitter, there are things he does when a window of price action is about to reach, let's say 9:30 a.m. Time is almost at 9:30 a.m. It will come on Twitter and tell you to note something. When it does that, it will tell you to note a price point. When it tells you to note that, it will then walk you through that price action model, through that price action. It will walk you through it, because it trusts that model will deliver most of the times, because he has seen it in his 30 years plus journey as a trader. So he has seen that model repeat itself multiple times. So those are the type of models, even though it says he has multiple models, which he does, but there are certain models that he trusts more. They are that are more individualized to his own personality. So those are the models that he comes online and tell you to note this point, and price will then in fact act towards this level. It will tell you to note this order block at this time. It will tell you to note the 1050 candle. When it tells you to note that 1050 candle, you will see how price will act to that candle and react to the opposite side of the to his drawn liquidity. He's telling you that with that much confidence because he has understood that model. That model has been imputed. The fingerprint of that model has been imputed inside of his subconscious. So there is nothing new about that model. He has known everything about that model. Does that make sense? Let's say you are a hunter. You're a hunter and you hunt rabbit. You hunt only rabbit. Because you are a hunter, you are a rabbit only hunter. You specialize in hunting rabbits. That doesn't mean you will not understand the the footprints of deers, the footprints of elephants or lions or other prey or other wild animals or other predators. So you have to understand those other knowledge, those other models that are not your models, so that you can know how to navigate price action. You use those other fingerprints to know how to navigate, to understand when your model is not in play. So when your model is not in play, you only tape read. But when you see your model in play, that model that you have backtest and understood how it reveals itself, that is the model you engage it. So the next one, why do people make rules? You see, the world is a very strange place that if you do not have a code of operation, you do not have a set of rules to determine your actions, you will fall into a chaos. You fall into either self tyranny or you keep on sabotaging yourself. So you make rules to to help you formulate your engagement in the world. So most times you have not lived long enough to create your own rules from scratch. So it is better to learn from others and get some of their rules and see which of their rules align with your personal values and your personality. Then if those rules does align with your personal values and your personality, then and only then can you align those rules, can you adopt those rules to your personalities. So these rules that you've made in relation to your model, it should be precise and rigid, and it should be short rules that it can fit into the back of a business card. Your rules should be able to fill in those debit card and it is okay, it is done. Those are the type of rules. Those are the type of rules that you want to create for yourself. Simple but rigid rules, and they are direct. You want to see this on the higher time frame, and then on the lower time frame you want to see this, and you want to make sure there's a draw on liquidity here. Your rules should be extremely rigid. And when you're starting out as a scalper or an intraday trader, your rules should also have time of engagement. So your rules should have when you are expecting this transaction to manifest itself. Because if this market is in fact delivered by an algorithm, that means it will respect time. Because the first principle of algorithmic theory is time. Any form of algorithm, it does not operate without time. And for this trading, we are using the New York local time for it. The next one is motivation and discipline. This is one of my favorite one because in my early stage of my journey, I was more inclined with motivation. So, and I believe a lot of you will relate to this. There is a way you become too inclined with motivation. You become almost addicted to that motivation because the motivation is just probably a chemical feeling. Chemicals being released inside of you because of a prospect, because of something you can envision that if you do this, this is how your future will change. This is how better, this is how exciting the future you will be. So you have that motivation driving you. But because motivation is a feeling, feeling goes up and down. Feeling is not something that is static. You cannot feel happy all the time. You cannot feel sad all the time. You cannot feel that way all the time. So because feeling is something dynamic, it doesn't last. So you'd want to look for something that lasts. Apart from the joy of the Lord that does last inside of your heart, every other thing is every other form of feeling, it doesn't last. So you want to align yourself with something that lasts. You want to build something inside of you that lasts, that cannot be taken away from you. It doesn't matter your frame of mind, it doesn't matter how you feel that morning. You already know how to act, you already know how to engage, how to behave. And this is where you need discipline, because when your motivation does fails, this is when your discipline carries you. And during your stage of motivation, if you're in that frame of mind, you should be building a form of discipline. You should be building routines, building systems to help you with your discipline, because your motivation will fail for sure. And when that happens, you want to be equipped with the right and necessary tools to continue, because the only way you can fail in this industry is when you stop, when you give up. You can keep losing for years. You can lose, you can keep on losing for 10 years. You can keep on losing for 15 years in this industry and you have not failed. But the moment you drop the boat and say, "Oh, I'm not trading ever again," that moment is when you fail. That moment is when you are out of the game. Unless you stop, unless you stop this, unless you give up on this goal, on this career, you cannot fail. And discipline will help you never fail, because no matter how you feel, you already know that at 6 p.m. you are going to the gym. No matter how you feel, you already know that at 11 a.m. you are getting sunlight. No matter how you feel, you already know that at 3 p.m. you are engaging in price action. You are expecting a second stage distribution of a market maker model. Does that make sense? It is a rigid set of rules. Those are rigid set of rules. It doesn't matter your state of mind. It doesn't matter your frame of mind. It doesn't matter how you feel. This will break you. This is what will break you as a trader. This is what will make you. This is what will flush out the old you. Anything in you that does not support your evolution. This discipline, it is what will carve it out. You are like you when you are in that state of mind of as a disciplined person, you are now like a sculpture. You are now like an artist, a sculptor. You are a formless piece of rock, a formless piece of rock, and you're carving out your best self. You're carving out your best the best you. You are like Da Vinci. You're carving out your future self. You are taking away the you that is useless, the you that is flawed, the you that is undisciplined, that lacks discipline, that is impulsive, that lacks patience. You are taking that you out and you're carving the perfect you. You cannot get that perfect you. This is why you keep on carving yourself. You keep on evolving steadily, continuously, and you need discipline to do that. The next thing you need in building a model is consistency. You need consistency. Consistency is one of the most important thing of this of all of these points, because with consistency you cannot stop, you cannot give up. Does that make sense? Because you've programmed your subconscious to act in a way every single time. When you engage in consistency in this frame of mind, to in a way of programming, you programming yourself like a robot, it will make it easier for you to have discipline. And you need consistency to have a a measurable progress, a measurable result. If you're going to the gym, you need to be consistent with it to know if your program you're doing in the gym is an effective program or not. Does that make sense? If you're not consistent with your programs, you are doing leg days on Mondays, then the next week you're not doing leg days the whole week. You are not consistent, you're not being consistent, and with that way you cannot see a measurable result. There is no way you can get a measurable result. Everything you do when consistency is not in play, it is fluke. It is, no matter how you engage, no matter how you think about it, when you engage in your trading without being consistent, without engaging in price action at a consistent time that you do, that is in your rules, your results cannot be measurable. So your results will be fluctuating. There is no way you can understand your strike rate. There is no way you can understand how precise your model is, the requirements of your models. So you need consistency for this, and you need discipline to carry out consistency, because without discipline you can never be consistent. A point that I would give to you as a trader, as a newly developing trader, or as an intermediate trader, let's call it that way, is that you do not build consistency from the chart. You do not build consistency from trading. What you do is you build consistency from other aspects of your life. Then those other aspects of your life, it will reflect in your trading. Does that make sense? So you pick an hobby or a work or something productive. You pick it as something that you'll be doing in your day-to-day activities, and those things, as you're developing consistency for those things, it will be reflecting inside of your chart. For example, you are going to the gym from 9 to 11. If you're going to the gym from 9 to 11 and you'd have to shower at 11 to 12, from 11 to 12 you clean up and you shower, then from 1 to 2 you eat breakfast. This is just hypothetical. From 1 to 2 you eat your lunch, for example. Then from 2 p.m. is when your trading window opens. So you see, your consistency from you going to the gym will therefore, like it's like a puzzle. It will act upon itself. From the previous thing you are doing to the next thing you're about to do, it will, like a puzzle, fit into each other. So this is the easiest way to form consistency. Do not think you can be consistent just by just being a trader and not being consistent in other aspects of your life. So you'd have to build consistency from another aspect of your life, something you love doing or something you hate doing. You must pick, you must choose. This is one of the reasons being a trader is good, and everybody likes the idea of being a trader, is how free you are in making yourself not free. Does that make sense? You are trying to become as free as possible so that you can by yourself create your own rules to make you not free, because freedom is a double-edged sword. If you are too free, you can become a slave to yourself, and you do not want that. You do not want to be a slave to pleasure. You do not want to be a slave to desires. And that is what comes up if you are not, if you do not have rules to guide you when you are in search of freedom, because your rules will keep you disciplined and it will keep you in line with the higher good. Let's put it that way. So that's it for consistency. And the next point is patience. When I talk about patience, I do not mean you being patient while you're doing nonsense. When I'm talking about patience, I mean you being patient with yourself, you being patient with your learning curve, with your growth. Because most times, especially with this social media age, we are bombarded with everybody's journey, how everybody is being successful online, how they just bought a new watch, they just bought a new car, they just bought a new house, or things like that. That sometimes gets to you. So that is a mental rot that you get to, especially when you are engaging in, when you're comparing yourself with others. Most times, most of these people you are seeing online, most of them they are fake. They are selling you a lifestyle so they can sell you something behind, something in the back. Other times, most of these people, they've gone through hell. They've gone through that developing curve. They've been where you are currently. You might just be learning how to trade for probably some months or a year or two. And those people, they have been trading or they've been doing whatever for the past 5 to 10 years, for the past 15 years, and you expect your result to match those people's result. That is lunacy. That is crazy. There is no way your result, there is no way your experience or anything can be matched with those people. So for your own peace of mind, you want to cut that out from you, because that will make you impatient with yourself, and being impatient, it will make you do stupid things in between. So you have to be patient with yourself. You have to build the spirit of patience. You have to pray for the spirit of patience, because it is what you need to last long in this industry. You have to be patient with your models. You have to be patient and understand that your model will form, because you've back tested that model and you forward tested that model and you see that it forms. And when it does form, the strike rate is higher than 50%. So that is what you want to align yourself with. So you want to be patient. When you see the market presenting something to you that is not your model, this is when patience will come in. You will only spectate those price action that is not in line with your model, that does not have any bearing to do with your models or any of your rules. So you want to have patience with your model while having patience with yourself. Having patience with yourself for your growth. So when you fail, when you do the wrong thing, you have to be patient with yourself and not start having negative self-talk. Because one thing that impatience does is provide you with an avenue for negative self-talk. One of the realest things that comes out of you is the things you tell yourself. So you want to be intentionally good to yourself. You want to be intentionally pleasant with yourself. Does that make sense? You want to talk to yourself like someone that you love. There's a rule in Jordan Peterson's book, treat yourself like someone that you are responsible to take care of. So you want to love yourself like you will love another person. You treat yourself like another person, like a separate being. So how will you treat someone that you love dearly and you respect? So you want to treat yourself as that person. Does that make sense? And you having patience with yourself, it will help you. Having patience should not be blind patience. You should have a rules on understanding when to reflect, when to understand that probably what you're being patient with is not something that is fruitful. So this is when you will have to change. This is when you would have to evolve. But when those criteria does not fit your predetermined rules on when to change your approach, you keep being patient. You keep engaging as a patient being and understand that price is price and there's different times for everything. And when it is your time, it will reflect. Every time you fall into that rut of being impatient, you have to remind yourself that time is your ally. So you have to be patient. So you have to build that spirit of patience inside of you. And the next point is restudy your previous gotten knowledge. So this is something is self-explanatory. So where you learnt your model or how you got your model while you're learning, you are journaling that process. You are writing that process in your journal. You have to have multiple journals for all of this because you cannot use the same journal you're using for your personal development and use that same journal for your trading and use that same journal for your models and use that same journal for recording your statistics and use that same journal for recording your mindset. So you'd have to have multiple different journals. So you'd have to have multiple journals to understand when you should be engaging in price action, to understand when you are, to understand where your previous gotten knowledge was from. So if it is from a video and you journaled your points, you journaled the rules you got from that video or the knowledge you got from that video, you go back to your journals to realign yourself with those your previously gotten knowledge because it will flee from you, it will flee away from you if you do not continuously study it and impute it inside of your subconscious because it's something that you want to be reinforcing. You want to be reinforcing yourself. Belief is not something that is static, that is there all the time. Belief is something that is always fleeting. So you want to be restoring your belief every day, every morning, every week. Does that make sense? So when you have a form of belief, you want to be reinforcing it, reinforcing it till it becomes an impulse by you, not impulse in a negative sense, impulse in that you've seen this happen multiple times. So you already know your form of engagement. You've seen these criteria play out multiple times. So you already know what to do next. It's like having a routine. When you start with having a routine within the first month or the first 2 months, you would want to be going to your journals to look at your next routine. Oh, it is 1 p.m. This is what I should be doing by 1 p.m. But the more you look at your journals for your routine, the more you practice it, the more you do it consistently. When it's 1 p.m., after like 6 months, you already know that this is what you are doing at 1 p.m. You already know your full routine at the back of your mind. You do not need to look at your journal. You do not need to look at a journal to understand what you are doing next, what you would have to do next, because it has become part of you. It has become part of your personalized routine. So there is no ambiguity to it. It is a rigid set of rules. So this is why you'd have to study those your previous gotten knowledge. Anytime you watch a video, you can save it as watch later, or you can have a journal for videos if you are using YouTube as a as a medium of getting your knowledge. When you watch that video, you can write the title of the video or something like that. So when you go back to your journal to restudy those your previously gotten knowledge, you can use that reference point to go back to that video to restudy what was taught to you before. And the more you do it, the more it solidifies in your belief system. It's like for example, the 2022 mentorship. I've watched the 2022 mentorship more than 5 times. I've watched the market maker series more than 4 times. I've been repeating those studies because most of the times when you watch a video or when you learn something, you are learning from a preconceived notion. So that will blind you. It will blindside you in paying attention to some things that you do not previously know. So, but when you come again to engage in, to watch that video now as a new being that is ready to learn, you will now be humble to learn from that person that is passing that message across to you. And when you are humble, when you have humility in you, it will make it easy for you to identify what you missed when you were watching it previously. When you were watching that video previously, that's why when you're watching ICT's video or any of my video, it will be like there's a new information being imputed in that video, but it is not new. There's no new information. It is the previous information that you missed. So this is why you want to be restudying your previously gotten knowledge. You want to keep your sources narrow, where you people you listen to, you want to keep it narrow but precise. Does that make sense? So it will keep you grounded. So this leads to this other point, which is journaling. Keeping so keeping a journal, there is multiple benefits of keeping a journal. It helps with your mental clarity. It helps with a lot, a whole lot. There's a lot of things you cannot discuss with anybody because they are not you, they are not inside of you. They do not understand what goes on inside of your subconscious. So no matter how you try to explain the words to them, they cannot hear you most of the times. So this is where journaling comes into play, keeping a personal journal. So your journal should vary from different aspects of your life. You can have a gym journal, you can have a relationship journal, you can have a trading journal, you can have every aspect of your life being recorded in a journal. But for this video, we are primarily focusing on a personal model journal and a personality journal. What do I mean by this? So your personality journal, when you are engaging in the world, in the physical world, as you are engaging with the world, the way you engage, the way you are impulsive, the way the way your characteristics traits reveal itself to you, you should journal those things. You should journal how those things are in the real world, and you should be honest with yourself. You should not lie to yourself, but you should be positive with yourself. What do I mean by that? You should not talk to yourself like someone that you hate. You should talk to yourself that someone you care about. So you talk to yourself in a positive manner. That is what will help that your personality journal thrive, and it will in turn help you flourish in your personal models journal. Your personal model journal is, you have a small journal for your personal individualized model. The first part of your of that your journal, it should contain the rules of your model, those little rules of your model, so that every time you are engaging in price action, you pick up that your model journal, that your personal model journal, you are seeing you are seeing your rules instantly within those first pages of that your journal. Then as you continue with journal, you are writing more in-detailed observations, more in-depth explanation, and what you observe about your model, because there's always more things to learn about your model and about yourself. But there will come a time in your development that you've understood your model to an extent that it does not need evolving within a certain period of time. So you can evolve your model every 3 months or every 6 months, something like that. You understand? You do not want to be evolving your model every day, every 2 days without, because if you are evolving your model every day, every week, you cannot have a statistically proven um, data to understand that this is your strike rate of this model, because you've evolved the model too much, and there's no the reality of the model and the preconception of the model are detached. They are not aligned to each other. So the you'd want your model to align with your reality. You'd want your model statistics to align with how your results actually is in price action. So that way it will give you a data to understand if you should evolve this model or not, if you should tweak the model, or if you should abandon this model entirely. So that will give you something to target, to give you something to work with. So that is one of the benefits of having a journal while you are developing your model. The next point is self-explanatory with, because it covers all of what we've been discussing from the beginning of this video, which is keeping statistics. So you want to be keeping statistics, because what we are doing in this industry is numbers game. We are all playing a numbers game. We are participating in a numbers game. It is all a numbers game, and you, for a numbers game, you want to be writing it down. You want to be writing your statistics down. You want to be keeping record, and not just keeping record for keeping record's sake. You want to also use this record. You want to visit this record occasionally to evolve your models, or to understand your win rate, your strike rate. Does that make sense? Because this will be beneficial to you. Say, for example, you are trying to market yourself as a fund manager to hedge funds and other, probably a personal entity. You need these statistics to present to those entities, because they cannot listen to the word of your mouth. They have to see something for themselves. They have to see these statistics, that this statistic is true, and it is yours. It is what you've been using to engage the marketplace. You understand? And you want these statistics to be something that you've tested, and you've rigorously tested years as you're coming up inside of this industry. Because if you lie about your statistics, you cannot survive long in this industry. Because if you lie about your statistics to your investors or any individual, or the worst part, to yourself, you cannot survive long, because your lie is a different universe entirely, and it does not correlate with your, and when your lies does not correlate to with your reality, it creates a disconnect. You are disconnected from the truth, and when you are disconnected from the truth, you're a prisoner. You're a prisoner to yourself, and you cannot last as that. So you want to be aligned with the truth. You want to align yourself with the truth of your statistics, the truth of your models, every aspect of truth. You want that to be your reality, because they say the truth shall set you free. Literally, it will set you free if you are honest with the truth. So that is it. I hope you got something from this video. After this, from now, we are going into creating personal models, and we'll focus on creating 4 personal models. Inside of these 4 personal models, there will also be sub models under of these personal models, so you can find the one that aligns with your personality more, or just keep studying the model while you're finding your personality, so that at that time, when it comes time for you to pick a model, you understand which model aligns more with your personality. Probably it might not be any of it might not be any of the models being that will be taught here in this mentorship. It might be an individualized model that you got from your own study of price action, or it might be a model from Michael's video, from ICT's teachings. So that is it. So have a nice day and goodbye.